Hello, everybody. I'm Amy Wasyluka, and I'm running for State Senate District 2. As a woman with a pre-existing condition, I will bring a unique perspective and understanding to public service. Like many of you, I have faced challenges with having a pre-existing condition. But for those of you who have not had the experience of being uninsured or ever having to delay your health care, I want to tell you a little bit about my story. The fall of my junior year of high school, I noticed what I thought was a pimple on my chest. Within a couple months, that pimple had grown to the size of a golf ball. And right after Christmas of that year, I found out that I had lymphoma. Immediately after receiving that diagnosis, I began surgery and chemotherapy at Children's Hospital. Within a matter of weeks, I went from being a fairly decent runner to someone who couldn't walk up a set of stairs. But the worst thing about my treatment was seeing what cancer did to the other families in my community. While receiving my chemotherapy, I would hear toddlers scream because they didn't understand why they had to get chemo. I would hear parents cry when they receive the news that no parent ever wants to get. Unfortunately, not all of the children that I went through chemotherapy with survived their cancer, a couple of friends of mine included. At one point, the Make-A-Wish Foundation came to visit me while I received chemo, and I was certain that that meant I was dying. Luckily, I was wrong. I survived. I went on to college and the University of Alabama School of Law, where I aged out of my parents' health insurance prior to the ACA. Again, I was lucky. I was able to purchase health insurance, because back then, not everyone with a pre-existing condition was even offered that opportunity. However, because I had a pre-existing condition, the plan that I was allowed to purchase didn't cover anything. It didn't cover preventative care, yearly checkups, or sick visits that I needed to maintain my health or catch my cancer should it return. And it definitely didn't cover the yearly cardiologist visits I was supposed to be having. During that time, I was constantly sick, which impacted my ability to study, to concentrate, and to work. And I went without. Luckily, nothing serious happened, and eventually I married my husband and was covered under his military insurance. Having gone through that, I can tell you from firsthand experience that access to reasonable health care can easily mean the difference between being able to work or not, or for someone with a life-threatening condition being able to catch that condition in order to survive or not. When I got care again, the difference was night and day. I was more alert at work, took less sick days, and could catch serious health issues before they became a problem. I want each and every family who faces a life-threatening illness not to have to worry about whether or not that illness is going to bankrupt them. And I want every person who has a pre-existing condition to be as lucky as I was blessed to be. But I know the reality. And the reality is that not everyone will be as lucky as I was. As many of you know, our U.S. Senate recently passed a tax bill which eliminates the Affordable Care Act penalty for not having insurance coverage. A recent study by the Congressional Budget Office predicts that as a result, within 1 year, more than 4 million Americans will become uninsured. And within 10 years, that number will grow to 13,000. The CBO further predicts that as a result of the elimination of the individual mandate, health insurance premiums will rise by 10% on average. Now, these statistics on their own may seem far away, possibly even unimportant, but they are absolutely vital to states like Alabama, where even after the ACA we have failed to expand Medicaid, where we retain a higher uninsured population, and where the already high cost of insurance coverage already keeps too many of us from obtaining health insurance. In short, it exacerbates an already existing dire problem. And it is our women, more than any other group, who will pay the price if we do not do something about it. In 2016, the United Health Foundation ranked Alabama 31st in the nation in terms of women obtaining clinical care, and the Institute for Women's Policy Research ranked it as the worst state in the South for women with an overall grade of a D-. That report found women in the South are more likely to die from heart disease and breast cancer, more likely to have diabetes, AIDS, poor maternal health, and less preventative care. It also found infant and maternal mortality rates to be among the worst in the country.
That's right.
Alabama women deserve more. We are amazing. We are a driving force in this state and throughout the South, where business ownership by women is more common than anywhere else in the country. We are mothers, we are sisters, we are attorneys, doctors, businesswomen, community leaders, and everything else in between. But we cannot continue to be so much to so many if we cannot take care of ourselves and if barriers to our care still exist. That is why we as a state must expand Medicaid now. And that is why we need more people in our government looking out for our interests. Actually, correction. That is why we need more women in our government looking out for our interests. Because when we support each other, we win. When we stay engaged, we win. And when we vote for candidates who will support our health care, we win. Thank you all so much. I'm Amy Wasyluka, and I'm running for State Senate District 2.
Hey, what do y'all